Hi, Assalamualaikum. So, my name is Kairina binti Ma'aruf. My matric number is I19103591. Chapter 6, Foundations of Business Intelligence, which is Database and Information Management. Subtopic 6.2, What are the major capabilities of Database Management System, DBMS, and why is a relational DBMS so powerful? What are the major capabilities of Database Management System, DBMS, and why is relational DBMS so powerful? Database is a collection of data organized to serve many applications efficiently by centralizing the data and controlling redundant data. Database Management System. A database management system, DBMS, is a software that permits an organizational to centralize data, manage them efficiently, and provide access to the stored data by applications program. The DBMS acts as an interface between application programs and the physical data files. When the application program calls for a data item such as gross pay and the DBMS find this item in the database and present it to the applications program. Using traditional data file, the programmer would have to specify the size and format of each data element used in the program and then tell the computer where they were located. The database management software makes the physical data available for different logical views required by the user. For example, for the human resources database illustrations, a benefit specialist might require a view consisting of the employee's name, social security number, and health insurance coverage. A payroll department member might need data such as the employee's name, social security number, gross pay, and net pay. How a DBMS solved the problem of the traditional file environment. A DBMS reduces data redundancy and inconsistency by minimizing isolated files in which the same data are repeated. The DBMS may not enable to the organization to eliminate data redundancy entirely, but it can help control redundancy. Even if the organizational maintains some redundant data, using the DBMS eliminate data inconsistency because the DBMS can help the organizational ensure that every occurrence of redundant data has the same values. Okay. From a single human resources data provide many different views of data depending on the information requirements of the user. Illustrated here are two possible views, one of interest to a benefit specialist and one of interest to member of the company payroll department. Okay. So, first from human resources database, they can go to database management system and then separate into two, benefit views and payroll views. The DBMS uncouples program and data, enabling data to stand on their own. The descriptions of the data used by the program does not have to be specified in detail each time a different program is written. Access and availability of information will be increased and program development and maintenance costs reduced because users and programmers can perform ad hoc queries of the database for many simple applications without having to write complicated programs. We go through to relational DBMS. Contemporary DBMS use different database models to keep track of entities, attributes, and relationships. The most popular type of DBMS today for PCs as well as for larger computers and mainframe is the relational DBMS. Relational database represent data as a two-dimensional table called relations. Table may be referred to as a file. Each table contains data on the entity and its attributes. Microsoft Access is a relation DBMS for desktop systems, where DB2 Oracle data and Microsoft SQL Server are relation DBMS for large mainstream and mid-range computer. MySQL is a popular open source DBMS. So now, let's look at how a relational database organizes data about suppliers and parts. The database has a separate table for the entity supplier and the table for entity part. Each table consists of grid of columns and rows of data. Each individual element of data for each entity is stored as a relational database, are also called columns. For the entity supplier, the supplier identification number, name, street, city, state, and ZIP code are stored as a separate field within the supplier table, and each field represents an attribute for the entity supplier. A relationship database organizes data in the form of two-dimension table. Illustrated here are the table for entity suppliers and part, showing how they represent each entity and its attributes. The actual information about a single supplier that resides is in a table is called a row. Rows are commonly referred to as a record, or in every technical term as a tuples. In the supplier table, uniquely identify each record, so the record can be retrieved, updated, or sorted. It is called a key field. Each table in a relation database has one field that is designated as its primary key. Supplier underscore number is the primary key. When the field supplier underscore number appear in a part table, it is called a foreign key and is essentially a lookup field to look up data about the supplier of a specific part. Operations of a relational DBMS. In a relational database, three basic operations are used to develop useful sets of data, which is select, join, and project. The select operation creates a subset consisting of all records in the file that meet stated criteria. Select creates, in other words, a subset of rows and meet certain criteria. The project operation creates a subset consisting of columns in a table, permitting the user to create new tables that contain only the information required. Okay, now we can see a capabilities of database management system. In a capabilities of database management system, we will see a querying and reporting. DBMS include a tools for accessing and manipulating information in database. Most DBMS have a specialized language called a data manipulation language that is used to add, change, and delete and retrieve the data in the database. This language contains commands that permit end users and programming specialists to extract data from the database to satisfy information requests and develop applications. And the most prominent data manipulation language today is Structured Query Language or SQL. Uses of DBMS for large and mind-range computers such as DB2, Oracle, or SQL servers would employ SQL to retrieve information they need from the database. Microsoft Access also uses SQL, but it provides its own set of user-friendly tools for querying database and for organizing data from database into more polished report. Here you can see the illustrate the SQL query and would produce the new resultant table in this figure. You can find out more about how to perform SQL queries in our learning track for this chapter. The select, join, and project operations enable data from the two different tables to combine and only selected attributes to be displayed. Next is designing database. In designing database, we will go through to normalizations and entity relationships diagram. The conceptual database design describes how the data elements in the database are to be grouped. The design process identifies relationship among data elements and the most efficient way of grouping data elements together to meet business information requirements. The process of creating small, stable, yet flexible and adaptive data structures from a complex groups of data is called normalizations. Relational database system try to enforce referential integrity rules to ensure that relationship between couple table remain consistent. Database designer document their data model with an entity relationship diagram. Okay, last point in this subtopic is non-relational database and database in the cloud. Okay, in this topic, there are two separate mini points. First is normalizational and entity relationships diagrams and cloud database. Non-relational database management systems use a more flexible data model and are designed for managing large data sets across many distributed machines and for easily scaling up or down. For example, Midlife used the MongoDB open sources NoSQL data to quickly integrate disparate data on more than 100 million customers and deliver a consolidated view of each. In cloud database, Amazon and other cloud computing vendors provide relational database service as well. Amazon Relational Database Service, Amazon RDS, offer MySQL, SQL servers, Oracle database, PostgreSQL, MariaDB, or Amazon Aurora DB compatible with the MySQL as a database engines. In addition to public cloud-based data management services, company now have the option to using the database in a private cloud. So, in conclusion of subtopic 6.2, what are the major capabilities of DBMS and why is a relational DBMS so powerful? We can learn and we can understand the principal capabilities of DBMS include a data definitions capability, a data dictionary capability, and a data manipulation language. The data definition capability specifies the structure and content of the database. The data dictionary is a automated or manual file that store information about the data in the database, including name, definitions, formats, descriptions of the data elements. The data manipulation language, such as SQL, is a specialized language for accessing and manipulating the data in the database. The relational database has been the primary method for organizing and maintaining data in information system because it is a flexible and accessible. It's organized data in two-dimensional tables called relations with a row and columns, and each table contains data about entity and its attributes. Each row represents a record, and each column represents an attribute or field. Each table also contains a key field to uniquely identify each record for retrieval or manipulations. Relational database tables can be combined easily to deliver data required by user, provided that any two tables share a common data element. Non-relation databases are becoming popular for managing types of data that can be handled easily by the relational data model. Both relational and non-relational database products are available as a cloud computing service. Designing a database requires both a logical design and a physical design. The logical design models processes and decision making required. The processes of creating small, stable, and flexible and adaptive data structure from complex group of the data when the designing a relational database is termed normalizations. A well a well-designed relational database will not have many to many relationships, and all attributes for a specific entity will only apply to the entity. It will try to enforce referential integrity rules to ensure the relationships between couple tables remain consistent. And entity relationship diagram graphically depict the relationship between the entities table in the relational database. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.